Hello, my dear students. I hope you all have been doing well. So today we are going to discuss about the about protein, and this is my lecture number 5 of general science class. And this lecture is a part of the basic concept of biochemistry, and we are discussing in that part. Um, Biomolecule. So yesterday we discussed about amino acid, and now we are going to discuss about the protein, and we will be discussing in this lecture about what is protein and how it's made, and we are going to discuss about different structural level of protein also. We are going to discuss about the important function of protein, and we will be discussing also different important pharmaceutical protein or therapeutic protein that we use for the treatment of different disease. And we are going to discuss also about um, different diseases that is caused due to the modification in proteins or modification in the amino acid chain of the protein. So let's start from here. So first of all, what are proteins? So proteins are biological macromolecule. And what is a biological? What is a macromolecule? A macromolecule is that molecule that is made up of the association of small molecules, and biological means a molecule that is having some biological activity inside the when we take it inside or inside our body, or even if we test it in outside of our body in a test tube, or during any experimental during any experiment. um, so protein is a biological macromolecule. So protein is a macromolecule. First we are going to discuss this. Protein is a macromolecule. So how protein is a macromolecule? Because protein is made up of the association of several different amino acid that join with together with a peptide bond. So here we can see, let me take my laser. Okay, so here we see this is a amino acid. In our yesterday lecture we well discuss about that what is amino acid. And amino acid I would be means a little bit repeating it again from the yesterday lecture. So what is an amino acid? An amino acid is a molecule that is having a central carbon atom that is attached. A central carbon atom is attached with a carboxylic group, amino group, hydrogen atom, and a R chain. So this is a amino acid. When several different amino acids join each other with a bond, that is a covalent bond, and in case of protein we say it's a peptide bond. So we have a long chain that we say, long chain of amino acid that we say as a polypeptide chain. So what happened once this polypeptide chain is a part of protein, and once this polypeptide chain, or we say it's a protein, and we are having different structural level of protein. So this is once this is present as in a simple form, a long chain, it is a primary structure of protein, and it can fold it can fold on itself. That would be secondary structure we would be discussing in our coming slide. But here you have to just keep remember that what is a protein. Protein is a biological macromolecule that is having several different amino acids that join with each other via peptide bond. So this is the definition of protein. So now we are going to discuss about that a little bit about that what is a peptide bond and how peptide bond form. And yeah, so what is a peptide bond? Actually peptide bond is a covalent bond, and this bond is formed um, uh, by the condensation of two amino acid and by the condensation reaction. So we are having two amino acid here, we can see, and how this condensation reaction taking place and how the peptide bond is formed. So a peptide bond is formed by the condensation reaction between two amino acid, in that one of the hydrogen atom removed from one amino acid and the one of the hydroxyl group removed from other amino acid, and then carbon will join with the nitrogen, and the bond that we will be getting in the end, it will be a peptide bond. And during this reaction, altogether a molecule of water would be released. So what is a condensation reaction and what is a peptide bond? Peptide bond is formed between two amino acid by the condensation reaction, in that hydrogen atom of amino group release its hydrogen, amino amino group of one amino acid release its hydrogen, and carboxylic group of other amino acid will release one hydroxyl from it, and the bond that will form between these two amino acid would be a peptide bond, and in this reaction a water molecule would be released. So if we want to so as we see here that this is a peptide bond that is formed between two amino acid, and in this reaction, condensation reaction, a water molecule released. So from here we can see that if we want to break these two amino acid apart, we need to add a water molecule across this group. So, and one more thing we have to discuss here, that we have to understand here, whenever there would be a two amino acid, there would be one peptide bond that would be present, and whenever we would be having three amino acid, so there would be a two peptide bond would be present there. So we would be discussing in coming slide, but here we have to understand one important thing more, is that so we are having here peptide bond. This picture is showing a peptide bond that is made between two amino acid. So what happened once we are having means one is a peptide polypeptide chain start forming and amino acid start joining with this chain. So what happened, we are having two terminus, means two side of the chain. So this side that is having amino group at very end edge, very end side, so we say it's at N terminus, and the other side, that is the right hand side, where the new amino acid start is adding, and there would be a carboxylic group, we say is a C terminus. So sometime this terminus are important for the biological activity of protein. Once a protein is participating as a receptor or involved in the signal transduction, so this terminal are very important here. But here you have to just keep in your mind that two important concept. One is that whenever there is two amino acid, there would be one peptide bond that would be joining these two, and peptide bond always you find like this shape, CNH and C double bond O. You would be finding the peptide bond like this, and this is a covalent bond, and an amino acid polypeptide chain is having two terminus, one is the N, one is the C. So here if I will give you a chain of a polypeptide chain, and I do not know about that how much peptide bond are present there, and I will ask you to find out that how many peptide bond are present. We can easily find with the number of amino acid. If the chain is having 5 amino acid, so there would be 4 peptide bond would be present there. So this was the important thing. Now we are going to discuss about the protein different structural level, and how the protein look like on structural means on the on its structure, on the basis of its structure. So protein is having different structural level. What does mean by structural level? Structural means it is having its structure going to be complex from the simple one. So the very simple structure of protein is a primary structure, that is the sequence of amino acid, and that we can see here. So this sequence of amino acid is showing in one means site N terminal and other side is C terminal. And this, what is the primary structure? Primary structure is the sequence of amino acid, and we can see that what is a sequence of amino acid or what is a primary structure is it is just amino acid that are joined with each other with a peptide bond, and there would not be any hydrogen bond or anything else that would be showing here. That would be just sequence of amino acid. And here we can see different different colors, so it is showing that we are having different type of amino acid here. So the secondary structure, what is the secondary structure? Secondary structure is when this primary structure fold itself on over it, so it would be a secondary structure, although it is also a little bit showing the folding on itself, but we will be saying the primary structure is that just sequence of amino acid, and the secondary structure is that structure when the primary structure or the amino acid polypeptide chain straight chain would be start folding on itself. So we are having how it will be folding, how it will fold itself. It will fold itself by the association of different amino acid, different functional group or different R chain, R group of the amino acid via hydrogen bond. So we can see here that this is a hydrogen bond. We can see it is forming between the amino group of one amino acid and the carboxylic group of the other amino acid. So because of this hydrogen bond, different amino acid come closer to each other in a polypeptide chain or in the primary structure of protein, and then they allow protein to fold itself on this form. So we are having two type of primary structure, one is a secondary structure, one is the beta sheet and the one is the alpha helix. So alpha helix would be like this spiral form, and the beta sheeted structure would be a means plain or plated structure. In that two chain of amino acid would be joining with each other by two chain of amino acid would be two chain polypeptide chain would be joining with each other via the hydrogen bond, and this hydrogen bond would be forming between the amino group of one amino acid from one chain and the carboxylic group of the other amino acid of the other chain. And this hydrogen bond would be forming across between means from the two sides of the polypeptide chain. However, in the alpha helix, what happened, the only one polypeptide chain would be involved in the hydrogen bonding between the amino acid. So this is the difference between the second means beta plated sheet and the alpha helix. And we are also having a tertiary structure of a protein. What is a tertiary structure? The tertiary structure is when the beta secondary structure would be folding itself over it. So we can see here in the this is a tertiary structure. We can see here alpha helix and the rest would be a beta plated sheet. So when these two secondary structure would be means making more bonding between the amino acid, so they that would be a tertiary structure. And tertiary structure, we also say this three-dimensional structure, and most of the time the biological activity of the protein is based on the tertiary structure or three-dimensional structure of the protein. And and then this is the folded. We also say it is a folded form of the protein. And then what is a quaternary structure? Quaternary structure is when two or more tertiary structure would be joining with each other via the association of different attractions or different bonds. So quaternary structure is having different protein motifs. What is a motifs? For example, protein motifs is a individual tertiary structure of a protein, and when one of the more two or more tertiary structure or motifs protein would be coming closer to each other via different bonding, so we say it's a quaternary structure. So here in this form we can see that protein is having two motifs. One is a orange color and other is a what color is that? Other is a light green color, I would say it's or aqua blue color. So these two motif that are associated with each other by a different bonding or different attractions, so this is a quaternary structure. So altogether I am going to sum up it again that what are the protein different structure. So protein are having different structural level, and one is the primary structure, that is the sequence of amino acid. Other is a secondary structure, that is when primary structure itself fold itself over it is a secondary structure. We are having two type of secondary structure, beta sheet and alpha helix, and the tertiary structure is a more complex one. Once the secondary structure would be folding itself over it, and the quaternary structure is when two or more motifs of tertiary structure would be coming closer to each other. So this was all about that what is a protein and what are different type of structure it is having. And now we are going to discuss about the different important functions of protein. So protein is very important biological macromolecule, and it is involved in several different function in our body. So one important function of protein is that protein is act as an enzyme. So what is an enzyme? Enzyme is actually a protein that help any chemical reaction in our body to take place, or it fasts the reaction, or it helps the reaction to go towards completion. So and this thing we say it's a catalysis. So enzyme protein is act as an enzyme, and enzyme catalyze the reaction. So we are having several different protein and several hundred or several enzyme in our body. And I'm giving you a few example here. For example, tryptophan synthase. This is an enzyme in our body that help to make the amino acid tryptophan. And another enzyme, it is a pepsin, that is break down the protein, dietary protein. Another important enzyme is ribulose phosphate carboxylase, that help convert carbon dioxide into sugar. And then another enzyme, it is DNA polymerase, that help to make the DNA. And then another enzyme is a kinase, that help to add a phosphate bond in a protein. So we are having different enzyme. Protein can act as an enzyme. Enzyme catalyze the reaction, and or speed up the reaction, in simple word. So another important function of protein means take part as a structure in our body. For example, protein is present in our hairs, protein is present in our nails, and protein is also inside the cell. Protein is present as a tubulin that help to maintain the structure of the cell or transport different material in the cell. And it also involved in the cell division, help to segregate the chromosome during the mitosis and meiosis. And the protein that is present in our hair, it is a alpha keratin. and the protein that is present in our joints, that is the collagen, or tendon, in the shape of tendon. So these are different structural function, and these are all different proteins. So another important function of protein is a transport protein. And what does it mean? Protein also help in our body to transport different materials from one side to the other side, and outside from the cell or inside of the cell. We are also having different proteins like dynein, kinase. These help to transport different organelles or from one side of the cell to other side of the cell, or different micronutrient inside our cell from one side of the cell to the outside of the cell, or inside of the cell to the outside of the cell. And outside the cell in our body, there are different transport protein like that hemoglobin, that carries oxygen, transport oxygen from one side of the cell to the one side of the body to the other place of the body. And we are also having another type of protein, like the that is in the bacteria, that is bacteriorhodopsin, and it shuttles proton out from the bacteria. And another important function of protein is a motor protein. In our muscles, we are having actin and myosin. This important protein help contraction of our muscle and allow us to move or perform or different function. Another important protein is a storage protein. What does it mean by? Protein can store other nutrient or other micronutrient in itself. For example, a small protein, that is ferritin, it stores iron in our liver. And protein also take part as a signal or involved in signaling inside the cell or outside the cell. And one important example of the signaling protein is the insulin. So insulin is a protein, it is a growth factor like that, and it find with the insulin receptor, and once it bind with the insulin receptor, it helps glucose to enter inside the body. So it is very comprehensive mechanism that we would be studying in coming slide or maybe coming lecture. But here you have to just keep in your mind that protein can also take part as a signaling protein or signal. And what does it mean by? It transfers signal from one side of the cell to the other side of cell to perform different biological function by the cell. So protein also take part as a receptor protein. So what is a receptor? Receptor is a molecule, is a protein that present normally on the cell membrane, and also it is present inside the cell in the nucleus, but that we say it's a nuclear receptor. But mostly the protein receptor are present on the outside of the cell, on the cell membrane. And what does they do? They mediate the signals. So for example, protein can help as a signal, and protein signal, and protein can also help as a receptor. So insulin is a signaling protein, that is a signal that bind with a receptor, that a insulin receptor, and this receptor mediate the signal from outside the cell to the inside of cell. So another protein is a gene regulatory protein. What does it mean by? Some protein bind with the gene, DNA or RNA, mostly DNA, and then they help to express any gene, and they can also shut down any gene. So another important protein, we are having several different spatial protein that perform a spatial function. For example, one of the protein that we say as an antifreeze protein, it is present in the fishes, and that is the antifreeze protein that allow that help the fishes to avoid the freezing their blood. And other important protein is the monilin, that is also a special protein that is sweet in nature. So these are all function of protein, and then we are going to more extensively understand different other function of protein. For example, here I'm going to discuss about the blood. So we are having blood. So what is a blood? Blood is having two important portion. One is a plasma and one is a different cell type. So the in the blood, 55% of the blood is a plasma, and from this 55%, 7% of the plasma containing the protein, different type of protein. And what important protein are present in the plasma, and what important type of plasma protein that are present in the blood? It is albumin, globulin and fibrinogen. So these important three protein that are present in the plasma of the blood, and the rest of the portion of the blood, that is of 45%, these are the different type of cells, blood cells. So these are the red blood cells, these are the white blood cells, and these are the platelets. So what this albumin, globulin and fibrinogen is doing in our blood, we are going to discuss. So one is the what is the albumin is doing in our blood. So this is the 3D structure of the albumin. That is one of the important plasma protein, and let's see that what it is doing in our body. So this protein is having several different function. It is having binding and transport function. It is having antioxidant function. It is having immunomodulation function and immunomodulatory function. It is also act as an antithrombotic protein, and it is also important for endothelial stabilization. So let's say if I'm talking about the antioxidant function, so what this protein is doing, this protein is actually fighting against oxidative stress. And if I'm talking about the antithrombotic function, what does it mean? It is preventing the thrombosis to take place or happen. So these are the all function of the albumin. And now we are going to talk about the another important plasma protein, that is globulin. This is the 3D structure of the ribbon diagram of the globulin. And we are having several different type of globulin protein in one is the transferrin, one is the hemopexin. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce it. And one is the lipoprotein. So let's see what transferrin is doing. Transferrin transport iron. This globulin, why we are saying is this globulin, it is a globular shape protein, so we say it's a globulin. And then transferrin transport iron. It helps prevent iron loss. Once iron that is extra present in our body, so this transferrin bind with the iron and is stored in the body. And whenever our body need iron, and we are not having a lot of iron in we are getting iron deficiency, so this transferrin release iron in our body, and then we use that. So by doing so, this transferrin prevent from the iron loss or to get our body different disease. Another protein, that is hemopsin. It bind with the free heme. And another important globulin protein is a lipoprotein that transport lipid. It binds with the lipid and transport it. So another important blood protein is the fibrinogen, and here we are seeing the ribbon diagram of this fibrinogen and what this protein is doing in our body and in our blood. So this important protein is involved in the clot formation. So whenever we are having any accident, for example, and we need to so during the wound formation or to prevent the blood loss, what this protein is doing, this protein is making the clot. And there is a this is all the means a big reaction that takes place, and in that the thrombin convert fibrinogen into fibrin, and then fibrin polymers uh, that retract, and then they will go to the fibrinolysis. But what happened, this fibrin is actually in our body is important protein that is involved in the clot formation. So we have already discussed about the catalytic protein. And what is a catalytic protein? That protein that are enzymes. So here a picture of enzyme, a little bit I am explaining here comprehensively. So let's see, this is a protein that is an enzyme. It is having a catalytic function. So how the protein is catalyzed, the means reaction. So this enzyme protein that are present in our body as an enzyme, it is having an active site. So the active site is actually a cavity that is complementary. This shape is the complementary with the with the shape of the molecule or a substrate that need to be catalyzed. So what happened, this substrate bind with the enzyme, and then this enzyme protein or catalytic protein convert this substrate into product. So here we see this, the enzyme, it is having active site. So this active site is complementary with the substrate binding site, and then it is getting fit in that, and then it convert into product. So we are having the motor protein. We have already discussed that motor protein involved in contraction. So these are two type of motor protein. This is the actin and myosin. This is the structure of actin and myosin. So actin, myosin is present inside the actin molecule, and this actin slide over the myosin once the muscle get contract. So this is how our muscles get contract. So another protein that is important protein, that is signaling protein. And this is the structure of the insulin. Insulin is a signaling protein. So insulin always present in a two polypeptide chain that bind with each other via disulfide bond. And this is the 3D diagram of the insulin. So how insulin perform as a signaling function. So let's see, we are having a insulin, it is a signaling molecule, and we are having a receptor here. It is a receptor protein, that is an insulin receptor, and insulin is also a protein that is a signaling protein. So once this signaling protein will bind with the insulin receptor, that is another protein. So what happened, this glucose transporter come over the surface of the cell. Although when this insulin would not bind with the insulin receptor, this transporter, that is another type of protein, remain inside in the cytoplasm, not present on the surface of the cell. So they come up over the surface of the cell only on that time when insulin will bind with the insulin receptor. So once insulin bind with the insulin receptor, it triggers this transporter to come over the cell. So once this glucose transporter come over the cell, they help to enter glucose inside the cell. So once glucose enter inside the cell, it is used up by the cell and perform different other function. So this is how the insulin perform the insulin signaling function. And we are having another protein, that is a receptor protein. Just here we have already discussed about all these protein, but we are going to discuss here, seeing that how how they look like and how they perform the function. So this is a receptor protein. It is a EGFR receptor, and we can see that how the polypeptide chain arrange itself across the plasma membrane. So this light aqua green color is a plasma membrane, and then this is a polypeptide chain. It is transferring itself several different time across this plasma membrane. And we can see here in the beginning of the lecture, when we started our lecture, I told you that two terminal of polypeptide chains are important because they involve in the biological activity of the cell. So let's see, this protein is arranging itself across the plasma membrane and leaving its amino terminal outside of the cell and carboxylic terminal inside of the cell. So what happened then, once the different signaling protein bind with this receptor, so they come interact with this amino terminal, and then they transfer their signal from outside of the cell to the inside of the cell. So here we can see this is the receptor and how receptor work. This is a cancerous cell showing here, and this is the process of signal transduction that is taking place here. What is a signal transduction? Signal transduction is a method of signaling of a cell, in that one signal transfer into the from one protein to other protein, then other protein to other protein, by the time until and unless it is getting to the nucleus, and then perform any important gene regulatory function. So here we can see is a protein that is present on a receptor protein that is present on the surface of the cell, and it is GPCR. GPCR is G protein coupled receptor, and then we can see it's a N-terminal, it is outside, and the carboxylic terminal is the inside. And here another receptor we can see, it is a tyrosine kinase receptor, that is epidermal growth factor receptor. So what happened, how this mechanism taking place? So growth factor would bind with the receptor and then trigger several different protein inside the cell to transfer the signal from outside to the inside. So how it take place? It actually, when growth factor bind with the growth factor receptor, so what happened in the intracellular surface of the receptor, it is having some phosphate that phosphor intracellular site of the receptor phosphorylate, means adding up with the phosphate group, and then a process of phosphorylation take place. What does it mean by it mean by the adding of the phosphate with the protein. So once the protein get phosphorylate, it become active. So what happened, this phosphate group transfer from one protein to other, then other protein to other, and keep means activating protein towards downstream, and then reaches to the nucleus. This signal reaches to the nucleus and then DNA perform any action. So this was the whole about the receptor proteins, and we are having here a structure of the collagen. That is a structural protein, and how we can see that how the collagen coil itself and where it is present. So collagen is present in our cartilage, in our nail, in our bone, in our dermis or connective tissue, and here. And it is very important protein. And another protein is hemoglobin. We can see the structure of hemoglobin here. So hemoglobin molecule is containing of it's a protein, and it is containing of 2 alpha chain, means same type, and 2 beta chain, beta 1 beta 2 same type. So it is containing 4 subunit, and we can say it is a quaternary structure of protein. It is having 4 individual subunit or 4 individual tertiary structure of protein. So each of the subunit or tertiary structure is having a heme group. So this heme group is having ability to bind with the oxygen. So that is how this protein hemoglobin transport the oxygen. And the other protein is a myoglobin. Myoglobin is a similar, more or less similar with the hemoglobin, but myoglobin have more affinity to bind with the oxygen. So that is how the myoglobin store oxygen rather than to transport oxygen. So hemoglobin bind with oxygen, but it is not bind oxygen with a lot of affinity, so it release oxygen radially. However myoglobin bind oxygen with the oxygen so tightly, so that is why the myoglobin store oxygen, hemoglobin transport oxygen. So there we are going to discuss about the disease that is taking place due to the changes in the amino acid in the protein. Or so one important disease is the sickle cell disease. So how it happens and what is it? So what happened, protein is made up of amino acid polypeptide chain, and each protein is having particular type of amino acid sequence. What does it mean by each protein to perform an important function? It should has to have important type of amino acid that are joined together with a specified sequence. So if the sequence of amino acid getting changed or any amino acid getting replaced by another amino acid in that protein, so what happened, it is appearing into the different disease. For example, sickle cell disease. So in sickle cell disease, what happened, a valine amino acid glutamate amino acid changed by the valine. So due to this, the hemoglobin, that is a globular protein normally present in the globular form and present in the RBCs. So RBCs structure is due to its this protein, its globular nature. So what happened, once the one amino acid getting changed in the hemoglobin, so what happened, the protein would be losing its structure, its shape. So the what happened, once the protein inside the RBCs lose its structure, so the RBCs loses structure, because the structure of the RBCs is due to the structure of the protein. So RBCs become the sickle cell, sickle type, and then they precipitate or in the blood vessel, and they clog the blood vessel. So this is how we say this disease as a sickle cell disease. So here we are having the structure of the antibodies. Antibodies are we say it's a immunoglobulin, and this is a globulin protein, and it is having 4 chain to heavy chain to light chain, and this protein is a Y-shaped protein, and it is having 262 amino acid residues. And what is the amino acid residue and what is the amino acid? Amino acid is a molecule that is having both completely amino group, carboxylic group joined with the carbon atom, central carbon. However, residue is when the one amino acid is removing hydrogen from the amino group, and the other amino acid removing the hydroxyl from the carboxylic group. So, and it in the form of a water. So the remaining amino acids that join with each other, we say it's a residue. So this antibody is containing 262 amino acid residue. It is having 4 chain, 2 alpha and 2 heavy and 2 light chain. And we say it's a antibody. Why? Because they capture the antigen. How they capture the antigen? And what is the antigen? Antigen can be any foreign particle that enter in our body from the outside. So they can be another protein, they can be a virus, and in the shape of virus, in the shape of bacteria, anything else that is entering in our body. So this antibody is antigen binding site is a complementary, exactly same with the antigen. So they bind with that, and what they do, they destroy this foreign particle or antigen. So these are the function of antibodies or immunoglobulin. And what are these? They are what the function they are having. They are having function of neutralization, agglutination, precipitation, complement activation, phagocytosis, inflammation, cell lysis. All these are the functions that are performed by these particular type of protein, that is antibody, and it is the protein that is involved in our immune system or in our defensive system of our body. So we can say this is a part of the immune system of our body. So what is the neutralization? In the neutralization, antibody surround any foreign particle from all the side, like the bacteria or the virus. When they enter in our body, this antibody misbind these foreign particle, because these foreign particle showing some epitopes or a particular type of structure over the surface of their cell, and that can be recognized, that are complementary, exactly same, that are exactly same or complement with the binding site of the antibody. So by doing so, they bind and then they neutralize. And agglutination means, for example, once the bacteria enter in our body, these antibodies bind with them from one side, and the other side they bind with the other bacteria and they agglutinate them, so not allowing bacteria to perform their function in our body. Another thing is the precipitation, so they bind with the foreign particle like this and they precipitate them out. And phagocytosis is another means a phenomena that is taking place by a different immune cell like the macrophages. So how they help, how they take place, so these macrophages bind with the one side, bind with the protein, means protein, that is antibody, and the other side it bind with the bacteria, and then this all the thing means enter inside the cells, immune cell, and then they go in the phagosome, and then lysosome means join with it, and then they lyses the cell, bacterial cell. So these are the important function of the antibodies. Now we are going to see the structure of the spatial protein, that is the chaperone, and some people also say them as chaperone, but I will say it's a chaperones. What are the chaperones? Actually, chaperones are also the protein. What do? They help protein to perfectly fold on itself. So what happened, if we are having protein in our body, once protein is formed, they are not in the folded form. So once the protein is formed in our body, so what happened, once protein is formed in our body, so after forming the protein should have to be folded to perform its biological activity. If a protein is not folded or remain unfolded, so it cannot perform its biological activity. So what happened, once protein form in our body, it become folded, but sometime what happened, due to any important disease or anything is not perfectly going well in our body or in our body cell, protein could not be fold itself, so it lose its activity. So once protein do not fold itself perfectly, so what happen, it can precipitate in our cell and it will appear on different disease. So protein should have to be fold in our body cell after its formation. So there are different type of protein, other protein that are present in our body cell that help to fold unfolded protein. So these are we say it's a molecular chaperone or chaperone protein, and they need energy from ATP that help, and they take up this protein, unfolded protein, take the energy from the ATP and then fold this protein and expel it out. So this is the molecular chaperone that are present in our body cell. And then another protein, it is a function, here we can see another protein is a gene regulatory protein. This is a piece of a gene we can see here. So this protein, what do? They bind with the gene and then help to regulate the gene. So this is the one of important type of that is a lac repressor. And we are having an important other protein, that is a glycoprotein make up the glycocalyx of the cell membrane, that is present over the cell membrane. What is the glycoprotein? Actually this is a protein that is attached with the glucose molecule, and it is present over the cell surface, and it helps, for example, if it is present over the surface of the bacteria, so this glycoprotein would be recognized by the antibodies once this bacteria would be enter in our body. So it is important, having important recognition function. So another protein is a lipoprotein. Lipoprotein bind with the lipid and transport lipid across in our body, and the nuclear protein bind with the RNAs or DNAs. Now we are going to discuss about the important protein that are present as a therapeutic agent, or we use these protein as a therapy or for the treatment of the disease or as a pharmaceuticals. So various protein are present in this market that are having pharmaceutical importance, that they are used to treat different disease, and one important protein is a insulin. So here we can see the structure of insulin. We have already discussed the structure of insulin previously. Insulin is having two chain that are joined with each other by a disulfide bond, and this protein insulin is used to combat diabetes. How? We have already discussed that insulin is a signaling protein that bind with the insulin receptor, and once it bind with the insulin receptor, it help the glucose transporter to come over the surface of the cell. So once glucose transporter come over the surface of the cell, it helps the glucose to enter in the cell. So once the glucose is enter in the cell, it get metabolized and create energy for us to use during the daily life. But imagine if we are not having the insulin, what happened? Glucose would not enter in the cell, and we would be having a lot of glucose molecules in our blood, and we once there are a lot of glucose molecule present in our blood, we would be having hyperglycemia. Okay, hyperglycemia, or we can say it's a diabetes. So another protein is a glutathione that is available in the market, and this protein is actually a polypeptide or a peptide that are based on three amino acid. One is glutamate, cysteine, and glycine. This is very important pharmaceutical protein. It is having antioxidant function, and it is using against the cancer as a chemotherapy, with other drug, and it is using for the liver disease, to treat liver disease, to treat lung disease, and to treat atherosclerosis. So this is also one important pharmaceutical protein. So I think we have well discussed about different function, structure, pharmaceutical importance of the protein, and for more further reading, you can go to the biochemistry 5th edition or Larringer 5th edition to discuss to learn more about the protein. So I would be saying you goodbye, and we would be discussing another biomolecule in our next lecture. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your